This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerized. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. We have a lot of stuff. Oh, we got a lot of stuff. We got stuff to talk about, including a lot of updates to the investigation into the classified documents. So that were, of course, taken from Mar-a-Lago. We also have some fun stuff on Herschel Walker, including trees. He's beefing with trees. Great. Fun. And then, of course, we have terrible homophobes. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. All right. So, with that said, just like I said, real quick breakdown of what we're doing today. And then we'll dive into it. Before we do, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you do so. Also, something that I want to mention, It looks like tomorrow we may have a decision on student loan. So what is Biden going to do about student loans? Is there going to be a reduction in the debt? Is he going to cancel some of it? Is he going to cancel all of it, or none of it? Well, from what I know, from what I've been seeing, it looks like he's going to cancel, or he may cancel. He's leaning at 10,000, which you might as well just not, leave the moratorium in place. Just leave the moratorium in place and do nothing else. It would likely be better than doing 10K, which is, again, going to be barely a dent in most people's student loans. And, better than doing that and turning it, back on, turning the payments on. So that's expected to happen tomorrow. So when the details on that come out, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. And again, depending on what happens, there may also be a couple of additional months of the moratorium. So, if he goes in that direction, disastrous, because you're not actually solving the issue of student loan debt. It's barely any interest, is what it is. Biden's going to punt. Again, if he's going to punt and just, cancel, or not even cancel, sorry, but just do the moratorium on the payments until the end of his term, that's still probably better than just canceling 10,000 and then turning everything back on. So that's just what I'm thinking. And I think there's a lot of people that are also like, if you're just going to do very little, then you might as well just not turn the payments back on at all. I don't know. Tell me what you think, everybody. Got to worry about those student loan asset-backed securities. You know what, Chris Green, thank you. I don't see a lot of people still talking about that. Yes, the student loan asset-backed securities that Wall Street loves, that's really what's on the line, and that's probably why a good amount of student loan debt is not being canceled. Cancel the interest, says Michael Esser. Yeah, look, there's no reason that this should have interest at all. The whole point, the whole fact that student loan debt has interest is insane and has such high interest rates. Absolutely insane. And they're not going to do anything about that. That's my guess. It's my guess they're not going to do anything about that. Again, you know my position. I think we should get rid of all of it. But I think at the very least, it should be 50K and stop collecting interest. If they do that, that would help a lot. Again, I think we should still cancel all of it. But, let's be clear. Most of what we have in Congress today, as well as Biden, he's not going to go all the way. And at this point, it's looking like he's going to do the bare minimum. I think the federal government should get out of the student loan business. I agree. I agree that there shouldn't be student loans at all. There should be taxpayer-funded higher education. Get rid of the student loan business. Cut it out entirely. And just, make colleges and public colleges tuition free. That's it. That's the way to do things. All right. Anyway, did the man who invented college go through student loans? What was that? I think I missed part of that comment here. All right. 10K will build back up in a few months for many. Yeah, like I said, when we're talking about the interest. All right. That said, I'll do more in-depth reporting when that announcement is made. And again, it's expected to be made on Wednesday. But let's get into the rest of the stories here. All right. We have new details about some of the classified documents retrieved from Mar-a-Lago by the FBI. Now, according to a report in the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, they write that former President Trump had more than 300 classified documents at the Florida estate. Now, those figures represent about 3 batches of documents that federal officials have recovered in recent months, amid growing concern that Trump had absconded with the files after he left the White House. Well, yes, he did. Now, about 150 documents marked classified were handed over to the National Archives back in January, a large number that prompted concern from officials that there were some that Trump didn't return. That Trump may have had additional sensitive material in the bowels of the resort. That's their reporting. Oh, did you have to say, did you have to talk about the bowels? Really?
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
No, let's not talk about that. All right. Now, look, not only is it reported that the number of classified documents that were taken, again, 300, but we also know from the report that he had went through those boxes himself late last year before they were turned over. So he went through those documents, and then, I mean, he probably looked through the other documents as well. And so, look, considering how some of the documents had nuclear secrets, right there, could be damning. Again, if he went through documents, not just the 150, but if he also went through the additional 150, and he decided not to turn those over, again, pretty damning, because they had nuclear secrets in them. Look, if you're going through those, you'd see documents that are clearly marked as classified. And if he saw that and decided, no, I'm going to ignore the classification, I'm just going to keep it because I want to keep it. And by the way, some of these were so highly classified that they could only be read in a secure government facility. If he looked at those and said, no, I'm just going to take them. I'm just going to take them. And then do what? Why are you going to take him? I know there's a ridiculous argument. Oh, he was keeping him for keepsakes. Maybe he needs them for, his memoirs. Yeah, that's what he needs the documents for. Right. He's there to keep him safe. They're safe in Mar-a-Lago. No, they're not. No, they're not. So, look. The reason that I believe that he took the documents, and I think there's only one reason, you want to sell them. You want to sell them to someone else. To whom? I don't know. Maybe the Saudis? Don't exactly know, not for sure. But there's more. The Times added that that former White House officials were then tasked with trying to return the documents to the federal government. However, Trump had resisted, calling the boxes mine. Oh, they're mine. They're mine. The boxes are mine. You can't take them. You can't touch them. They're mine. No, this guy, I mean, isn't there a pattern? Don't you notice a pattern of Trump taking things that don't belong to him? Now, you think that guy who constantly takes things that don't belong to him, you think he cares about the law? Do you think he cares about the country? No. No. That guy's a thief, a con artist. Maybe even a traitor, if he had indeed tried to sell those documents. And in any case, a criminal. Now, if you tried to, if I tried to take documents, classified documents, and keep them in my house, I'd be in prison today. And look, it's not like the government is shy about using the Espionage Act, which is, again, why there is a criminal investigation into this, to see if he had broken the Espionage Act. I mean, look, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, Reality Winner, all of these people, the government had no problem going after using the Espionage Act. And there's plenty of other ones that the government has used that act to go after as well. But when it comes to Trump, weird. They gave him 2 months. They gave him months to get back the boxes. Like, hey, we know you made off with some classified materials. You should probably give them back. Months. And he decided, no, I'm not going to. Oh, okay, fine. I'll give you back some. But not all of them. We're going to keep some of them. And by the way, he had even had his lawyer sign off saying, oh no, there's no more classified material left here, even though there absolutely was. So he lied. The lawyer had lied, likely, I would think, on, orders to Donald Trump about giving them back. Or maybe Donald Trump lied to the lawyers, which, again, wouldn't surprise me. And look, here's the thing, too. I just want to be careful not to besmirch the names of Manning, Snowden, Assange, and Winner. 3 of those people were whistleblowers that released important documents about the abuses of government. In the case of Winner, she, of course, revealed the possibility that Donald Trump might be a traitor to the country. As for Assange, he did the crime of journalism. I mean, look, if you're handed leaked documents, what are you supposed to do? As a journalist, you're going to report on them. I mean, look, if the New York Times, the Washington Post, if they think, oh, no, we can't possibly publish leaked government documents, we're not going to do our job as journalists. I mean, if they decided to do that, well, then they should turn themselves in. And certainly, they've reported on leaked documents before. They've reported on things that have been given to them. But they're very selective on that. But you see the difference, though, in how they're treated, okay? Donald Trump gets kid gloves for possibly taking nuclear secrets, okay? Not just, again, nuclear secrets. The Times report also cited a person briefed on the investigation who said that they included material from the CIA, the National Security Agency, and the FBI on topics related to national security. These are national security documents. That's what he took. And yet Donald Trump, when asked to give them back, has the audacity to act like a child, a baby. Say, no, these are mine. You can't have them. These are my documents. These are my documents. Really? No, they're not. Again, this makes me think he's gonna sell the documents. And again, that's the only reason I could think of to pick them out before leaving. Or to, if you're sending documents back, to take those 15 boxes and say, no. We're going to keep these. These are mine. The 300 classified documents. Well, I'm just going to keep those. And then refusing to, again, return them when asked. No, I definitely think that he's trying to sell out the country. This man is an absolute danger. He should have never been in power in the first place. All right. Meanwhile, Trump was hosting a Saudi golf tournament at Bedminster. Nice place to make a sale. That's a good point. Very good point. All right. Fox News host Steve Doocy did something very, very interesting. He actually asked questions. Good questions. On his show, Fox and Friends, he actually grilled former White House advisor Jared Kushner over the recent report in the New York Times that Trump had taken about 300 classified documents to Mar-a-Lago after leaving the White House. Take a look.
Why would the former president have that many classified things at Mar-a-Lago?
So I'm not familiar with what exactly the contents were, but what I'll just say from my personal experience is that, again, in the campaign, in the transition, we had a very innocent meeting with the Russian ambassador, and then, 4 months later, you're reading that the intel agencies are leaking to the Washington Post that we requested this secret back channel. And then the New York Times and CNN go crazy for a weekend accusing us of treason. And then it turns out such a thing never really happened. And so, I just think you have to be very careful with what you read and obviously just wait for the facts to develop. But I mean, there's been so many things that have been hyperventilated about over the last years that turn out to be nothing. And that's, again, why I wrote this book, was I wanted people to really understand what it was like to be living through that when you've done nothing wrong, you're there trying to get good things done. And, people are out there, accusing you of all these crazy things. And you have to prove that those things didn't happen.
Yeah, you've got to be careful what you read because, I mean, I don't know what was in those documents, but I'm sure it wasn't that bad. Okay, but if you didn't know what was in them, then how could you say, oh, they're not that bad? Now, again, we don't know specifically what is in those documents, but some of them involved the United States' nuclear secrets. And again, a lot of them were labeled top secret. Now, Haberman writes in her piece, the specific nature of the sensitive material that Mr. Trump took from the White House remains unclear. But the 15 boxes Mr. Trump turned over to the archives in January, nearly a year after he left office, included documents from the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI, spanning a variety of topics on national security interest, a person briefed on the matter said. So he had those. He took those to Mar-a-Lago. Now, if you're taking national security stuff to your private residence, you're not actually supposed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Again, some of these documents were so top secret that you're only allowed to read them at a secure government facility. Mar-a-Lago is not a secure government facility. Add to the fact that this lawyer lied about not having any more documents after they turned those over in January. That's interesting. Now, I think this is a real issue. This isn't a non-issue. Okay, this isn't. You don't understand. It's the same as everything else before, because it's like Donald Trump having the perfect call with Zelensky. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. I didn't see anything bad. No, here's the thing. There's a warrant. Warrants mean probable cause. Probable cause came from a tip inside of Mar-a-Lago, where somebody had seen, hey, there's documents in here. They're labeled classified, top secret. Maybe you ought to come get them. Was it Jared Kushner? Now, that's a good question. A lot of people have been speculating that, it was Jared Kushner that's actually doing the tips. Was it Melania? Who knows? Now, here's the thing. If it were Jared Kushner, and I actually don't think that it is, but if it was, he's hiding it pretty well, going on Fox News and saying, I didn't see anything, everything's fine, whatever. Great cover story, but I don't think he's that smart. I actually doubt it, and here's why, okay? Look, here's speculation time. Now, what's not speculation is that Jared Kushner just got a $2 billion investment into his private equity firm from the Saudi government, from Mohammed bin Salman. Now, it makes you kind of wonder, why would Mohammed bin Salman give a fail-son slumlord that much money? Especially over the objections of the board of his investment, right? Now, look, my answer to that is, well, we do know the Saudis were interested in nuclear technology. We know that some of the documents did involve national security. We knew that they involved some nuclear weapons technology. We know that Trump wanted to help nuclearize the Saudis. In fact, this is back in 2019, former Trump advisor and top fundraiser Tom Barrack and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn had actually tried to rush nuclear technology to the Saudi government without involving Congress, by the way. Members of the administration, the Trump administration, had tried very, very hard to help their buddy, Mohammed bin Salman, even after he ordered the murder and dismemberment of a Washington Post journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. Well, of course, they view the murder and dismemberment of a Washington Post journalist probably as a positive thing. So it just kind of makes me think or wonder that if that $2 billion private equity investment into Kushner's company has anything to do with what could have been in those stolen documents. Could it have been payback for helping the Saudis, giving the Saudis privileged information in order to step up their own nuclear ambitions? I don't know. I can't answer that. It does seem like a possibility to me, though. And that's very, very concerning. Okay. So let's get to the response from this report. I have to credit a person, can't remember who from TOIT, saying it was a team effort, and it got me thinking when I mentioned it, people also agreed. Yeah, you know what? I've also been thinking about that as well. But let's go to the next segment here. It appears that former President Donald Trump might be panicking a little bit. He has recently filed a new lawsuit. In it, Trump has asked a federal judge to appoint a special watchdog in order to review documents seized from his Florida home as part of a criminal investigation of the removal of White House records after leaving in January of 2021. Trump's lawsuit, which suggests the August 8th FBI raid was politically motivated, also asked the Department of Justice be blocked from further review of seized materials from his Mar-a-Lago residence until the so-called special master is appointed to review the documents. Special master. Well, let me just stop for a second and say, that's an interesting title. What's a special master? It sounds, I don't know, sounds a little kinky. I mean, I'm not going to kink shame on that. If you got a special master, totally good for you. Totally fine. Again, I have no problems with that.
Sexual anarchy.
Anyway, serious. Let's get to a serious point here. So now, what is a special master in reality? Well, it appears that special masters are appointed in criminal cases where there is a concern that some material seized by authorities should not be viewed by investigators because it is protected by attorney-client privilege or other factors that weigh against it being used in prosecution. Okay. So now it makes me wonder what inside of those 300 classified documents could be protected by attorney-client privilege. I don't know. Look, possibly stuff maybe concerning the Mueller probe. I mean, again, there's probably stuff that's attorney-client privilege that would be inside of that. I don't know, again, if it would be included in this cache of documents or if they would be, classified. I don't know. It's a good question. Now, there's more. Trump's suit in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida also accuses the government of violating his Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure. Now, again, hold on. There was an informant, a warrant signed by a judge who believed there's probable cause. And look, here's the thing. I'm very critical of raids because I think in normal circumstances, take a look at the no-knock raid for Breonna Taylor, by the way. So that was basically rubber stamped by a judge. And you see this a lot when it comes to people who have absolutely no power. Police will come in and say, I think I might have smelled marijuana by passing by this person's door or whatever. Let me do a raid. And the judge's like, okay, here you go, raid away. Or, do it, no knock raid, you need anything you want. Now, this is way, way different. Because now we're not dealing with people who have no power. We're dealing with a former president of the United States. And so if you're going to if you're going to do a search on their property, you better have a goddamn good reason. Or else it's going to massively explode in your face. And I think the last thing that the Justice Department wants to do is to make a mistake like this and have it blow up in their face. You know, and if that was the case, then Republicans would be totally justified in saying, oh, see, once again, political witch hunt. See, true. But I don't think that's the case. Again, you have to have probable cause. And I don't think, look, I get on Democrats for being weak all the time. Okay. So now if you're going to do something like this, I mean, it's a terrible idea. Don't do something like this. Again, it would give Republicans, the right wing, all the ammunition in the world to come after you. And so what Democrats are doing in this case, and what the Justice Department is doing under a Democratic administration, is making sure that they have every single piece of evidence. And so going back to the point about, okay, Democrats are usually weak, right? Well, in this case, they had enough evidence, they had enough probable cause to get in there and to go and find those documents. So that's important, an important point to note. Now, that said, there's more. In addition to seeking a special master, the suit also asks DOJ be required to provide Trump with a more detailed inventory of property seized at the Palm Beach resort. Wait, so, okay. That means that they're asking for not only a special master, but then a special master to go through and then to compile a more detailed piece of inventory that was taken, which again, all of this is going to take a lot of time. So I think we know what this is about. Now, it also requests the government return any seized item that was not within the scope of the search warrant authorizing the raid. Now, let's get to Trump's statement, okay? The complaint says that the Mar-a-Lago break-in, search, and seizure was illegal and unconstitutional. Trump said in a written statement released after the complaint, and we are taking all actions necessary to get the documents back, which we would have given to them without the necessity of the despicable raid of my home. Oh, wait, so hold on. We're going to try to get the documents back that if you had just asked for, we would have given you, even though we actually did, they actually did ask us and we just didn't do so and then lied about it. Look, this is pretzel. Like my brain is turning into a pretzel reading all of these different contradictory statements. Again, they were asked months prior to this. Hey, we think you have classified material. Please give them back. Now, again, if you and I had classified materials, do you think that they would politely ask me for months to return it? No, I would have been raided yesterday. Now, the rest of the statement, of course, is whiny and completely unbelievable. In fact, Trump's lawsuit called the raid a shockingly aggressive move by about 24 FBI agents. Shockingly aggressive, where nothing was broken and they were led in by Secret Service, which was done with no understanding of the distress that it was caused most Americans. Oh, the distress. Law enforcement is a shield that protects Americans, he says. It cannot be used as a weapon for political purposes. Therefore, we seek judicial assistance in the aftermath of an unprecedented and unnecessary raid on President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. The suit also says that Trump is a clear frontrunner in both the 2024 Republican presidential primary and general election. Should he decide to run, why hasn't he run already then? Why hasn't he declared? It doesn't make sense. Politics cannot be allowed to impact the administration of justice, the suit says. Now, in May, according to the complaint, Trump had voluntarily accepted a grand jury subpoena for his office record keeper seeking documents with classified markings, Trump decided to conduct a search for responsive records and then invited the FBI to come to Mar-a-Lago to retrieve them, according to the complaint. Here's where it gets really funny. On June 3rd, top DOJ counterintelligence official Jay Brett came to Mar-a-Lago with 3 other agents, and Trump greeted them in the dining room, the suit says. Trump then left the agents with Trump's record keeper and counsel, adding, "Whatever you need, just let us know. Just let us know." Once back in the dining room, one of the FBI agents said, "Thank you. You did not need to show us the dining room or the storage room, but we appreciate it. Now it all makes sense." Wait, that is a conversation that I can pretty much guarantee never happened. There's no way that conversation took place. No, in fact, the Wall Street Journal, I know, left-wing rag Wall Street Journal, reports that when the FBI searched the resort earlier this month, they had found national security documents outside of the designated area that Trump said that he had secured. Specifically, writes the Journal, agents found highly sensitive and classified documents lying in unsecure places outside of the storage room. This is after federal law enforcement officers had asked him to secure the storage room, and he had responded by putting a single padlock on the door. Oh, but then they put a second padlock on it, right? Well, apparently, though, didn't work because, oh, look, I'm just going to leave these highly sensitive documents out in the open. Gee, I hope some random employee or guest or maybe spy doesn't accidentally find their way in here and take photos of these documents. Boy, golly gee, that would be real bad. Real bad. Well, look, to be fair, I think at least one person thought it would be bad. The Journal reports that federal law enforcement officials were tipped off by at least one person familiar with the location of the documents at the complex, and that this tip alarmed them to the point where they felt they needed to execute a search warrant at the former president's residence. They said at least one person. Does that mean that there's, what, a team? More than one person? Oh, that's interesting. So instead of one informant, there could be 3 informants or 2 informants. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now, here's a final piece that I'm going to say. This is a time, a desperate attempt to waste time. It is. I don't know why. He could try again and declare his intention to run. Okay, but would that do anything to stop the investigation? I don't know. I don't think it would. So then what's the game plan here? What is the defense here? I don't think there seems to be a good defense for taking these documents that don't belong to him. It could be as simple as him trying to buy time to find a good legal team. I know he's been having some issues trying to find good qualified lawyers to defend him. So maybe that's part of it. I don't necessarily know. But from what I can see from his actions, seems to be getting a little nervous. Okay. Let's talk about Herschel Walker. Let's see. Where are you at? There it is. We got some fun stuff on Herschel. Let's dive into it. If you were looking forward to seeing an upcoming October 13th debate between Herschel Walker and his opponent, Senator Raphael Warnock, you might be a little disappointed. I say a little because there's a hilarious twist. On Friday, the Georgia Republican Senate candidate told 13 WMAZ that he had no plans to appear for an October 13th debate that he had previously agreed to. So wait, hold on. So he agreed to this debate, and then he's like, oh, you know what? No, I'm not going to go. So now there's video of this, but it's from local news. So I'm going to read the statement here. Here's what he said. Quote, when asked, I'm not going to respond to anything because you know that's not a debate. And you know that. You've got people that are contributors to his campaign, and it's in this room that only 2 people are going to see it on a Sunday night, I think. NFL football. I am giving you an opportunity to be statewide so everybody can see what it is. See the contrast between the 2 of us. I don't know how you can ask for anything better. That is an actual quote. What? Oh, okay. So I'm assuming that he's saying, oh, this debate, nobody's going to watch it anyway, and it's just funded by contributors, but Sunday football. So I'm not going to do it because apparently the 13th is Sunday football. Bro, October 13th is on a Thursday. There's no Sunday night football on Thursday. Does he not literally know what day it is? Does he not know what day it is? Again, we live in a time, a very magical time of high technology, where we have calendars on our phones that we take anywhere and everywhere. We have computers, laptops, tablets. And by the way, in the case of this guy, Herschel Walker, he has an entire campaign team that can tell him, hey, the debate is on a Thursday. What? Again, there's no excuse to not know what day your debate is. Again, when you're actually debating an opponent, a political opponent. Okay, so look, I don't think it's a secret that he's got some pretty serious mental issues. Okay? And so, look, when it comes to debates, I'm kind of dreading it, honestly. It's going to be terrible because he's going to come out and it's going to be just constant nonsense and word salad, and nothing he says is going to make any sense. And it's actually going to make him look incredibly bad and make people feel sorry for him. He's not going to be able to get out a coherent sentence, much less advocate for policy. And what's sad about this is that, it is, I guess, as terrible as his policy positions are, which again, the only ones really that he's been, able to enunciate, to talk about, is a nationwide abortion ban, which is incredibly unpopular. And so it's like, all right. Oh, and a war on trees. No, this is the guy that Donald Trump looked at and urged to run. And that Republican voters, primary voters, looked at him and said, oh yeah, that guy nailed it. Let's send him to Congress. Yikes. Okay. Continuing with Herschel Walker. In an appearance on Sunday, according to an account by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Herschel Walker talked about how we don't need more trees. We need less trees. In fact, when criticizing the recent Inflation Reduction Act, Walker said this, quote, "They continue to try to fool you that they are helping you out, but they're not, because a lot of money, it's going to trees. Don't we have enough trees around here?" Trees. Okay. Now, look, this is a great example of not knowing the details of what you're talking about. Now, there's plenty of reasons to criticize the Inflation Reduction Act for the fact that it's probably not going to do anything about inflation, and it's barely a climate bill, and it's filled with massive corporate handouts. But there's some good things in it. Now, one of the things happens to be the thing that Herschel Walker is complaining about: trees. Now, there is a provision in the program that actually is designed to help something called tree equity. Now, what that means is basically planting more trees in urban areas. And there are numerous examples and studies on the positive effects of doing this. And let me read some of them. Benefits include the ability of trees to reduce greenhouse gases through carbon storage, decrease stormwater runoff through interception and absorption of rainwater, and mitigate the urban heat island effect through reductions in surface and air temperatures at a local scale. Tree canopies look good at reducing health stress associated with urban heat islands, which often happen to be hotter than surrounding neighborhoods. Now, in fact, scientists say urban heat islands can cause temperatures to be about 5 to 7 degrees warmer during the day and as much as 22 degrees warmer at night. Now, of course, that means people who are living in these areas either have to use more air conditioning, which uses more energy, which leads to more greenhouse gas emissions, which leads to more warming because you're burning more fossil fuels, etc. Now, if you're, of course, living in those areas and you don't have air conditioning, well, you're more at risk for heat-related illnesses and death, especially as temperatures continue to rise. Now, trees, there are other health effects of trees. For example, they can reduce pollutants, leading to cleaner air, meaning less respiratory issues like asthma. I know there's a lot of inner city areas where there is an increase in these respiratory illnesses. Again, as I mentioned, critical of the bill that contains this provision, again, corporate handouts, big oil, and giant companies. But this is one good part. And there are a lot of good other parts to it as well. So, look, I'm for, anything that actually helps reduce the giant tree inequity in big cities. Now, do you want to know why there's a tree inequity? And again, a lot of people don't know about this. I live in a place where there's a lot of trees. But this is a big problem in a lot of big cities. And there's a reason it's a big problem in big cities. You're not going to be surprised that it's racism. I know. But look, here's some numbers. According to an analysis in Greenwire from September 2020, communities of color have 33% less tree canopy on average than majority white communities. Neighborhoods with 90% of their residents or more living in poverty have 41% less tree canopies than communities with only 10% or less of the population in poverty. Now, people who happen to be shoved in those areas into poverty most, Black and Latino Americans. In fact, according to a 2-year study published in the journal PLOS ONE, historically racist policies, for example, redlining, have made home ownership and economic mobility less attainable for Black and Latino people, forcing them into heavily polluted and more densely populated neighborhoods. So when you're setting up these neighborhoods, when I guess racist people are setting up these neighborhoods, you think they're going to care about trees? You think they're going to care about, oh no, we got to make sure these places not only look nice, but also have the health benefits of having trees? No, they're going to shove as many of these people in these areas as possible, usually next to the, factories and the coal plants. And so, with all the negative health effects that those bring onto the community as well, they don't care about their health. And so, again, that also made these people that are put into these areas more unlikely to have generational wealth. Again, you also have zoning laws that really make sure that people don't have affordable housing in any of the nicer areas. They're generally zoned for single-family homes, and oh, look at that! They happen to have these policies, for banks that made sure not to lend to Black families. So yeah, there's quite a history of racism involved in this as well. So now this bill is actually an attempt to reduce that in a way of making sure to actually have fair tree coverage. Again, we're talking about tree equity, right? Making sure to have those areas avoid those heat island effects and to have the benefits of, having trees in those areas, as well, of course, the, visual benefits as well. So that said, 92% overall of low-income blocks in the United States have less tree cover and hotter average temperatures than high-income blocks. And that is the big problem. So now that said, going back to Herschel Walker, when he says, oh, this bill, it ain't going to help you. Well, he's actually right, but only towards a certain audience. Now, again, if he's talking to wealthy white Republicans who don't live in these areas, then yes, you're absolutely right. That's not going to help you at all. But when it actually comes to inner city black people, and not just black people, but anyone living in the inner city, whether it be white, Asian, Latino, black, etc., people who are poorer in those areas, well, they will benefit from this. They will benefit from the greening of the inner cities. But as far as Walker's concerned, he doesn't represent those people. No, he represents the rich. And he has decided to completely leave the black community behind and work for what is right now the white nationalist party. All right. It's a large tax break for the rich. It is. It is a large tax break for the rich. Okay. One more story for you all today. Of course. A Republican candidate in Oklahoma is getting renewed attention for having justified the stoning of gay people. Of course. So now 56-year-old Scott Esk, who is running for a state House seat, there's actually a primary going on today in Oklahoma, is defending old comments that he had made on Facebook. So now this goes back to 2013 when Esk was commenting on a Facebook conversation about the Pope, saying that he couldn't judge gay people. He then posted some Bible quotes, you know how it is, including the part of Romans 1 where the Bible says that basically lays out a long list of people that have sinned that are worthy of death, which includes, of course, gay people. So now someone had asked him, okay, to be clear, you think we should execute homosexuals presumably by stoning? Asked that person. To which he replied, I think we would totally be totally in the right to do it. Ignoring as a nation things that are worthy of death is very remiss. Now, let me stop there and just point out how he's running as a pro-life candidate. I'm pro-life, I'm pro-family, but, I also wouldn't mind if gay people were stoned to death. Right. Okay, to be fair, that was 2013. Okay, it was a while ago. So did he change his position? Well, the following year, he was asked specifically about the comments he made. And he replied with this. What I will tell you right now is that was done in the Old Testament under a law that came directly from God. And in that time, it was totally just came directly from God. Okay, words out. So a real non-answer to that. So again, this would be very easy to say, no, of course not. I don't think we should stone gay people. I think that's totally wrong. That is what the Bible had said back then, and they lived by a different, set of laws. We don't live in those. We don't believe in those laws. We don't live those laws anymore. We live under the laws of the Constitution of the United States. That would have been at least a better answer. But no, remember, this guy also in his platform says laws don't come from man. Laws are made by God. Our laws come from God. Oh, all right. Well, that's very clear then. Now, funny enough, one of God's laws also was thou shalt not kill. So wait, what is it then? Is it, can you stone the gays, or thou shalt not kill? It's a big contradiction. You can't really answer those. Now, the following year, he decided to, because this controversy just wouldn't go away. So he put out a video. And he says, Scott Esk sets the record straight. Now, he claims that he has compassion from anybody in the grips of an insidious addiction, such as homosexuality. Big red flag. Whenever you describe homosexual activity as an addiction, wait a minute. Why would you view that as an addiction? Is it something that maybe you're addicted to? Because normal people don't describe it that way. Again, wow, big red flags. Okay, now, he said this in 2015. Any Christian should be in the position to say that this is a sin or this is good. If we don't make that distinction, we're not going to help people. Okay, but you were talked earlier, a couple years ago, or prior to that, about stoning them. Now you want to help them? No. In another video earlier this year, Esk responded to the local TV news in that area, asking him about his comments, and who had reported on this and called it a hit piece on the fact that I had an opinion against homosexuality. And then asked, well, does that make me a homophobe? Maybe some people think it does. No, it does. Yeah, you're a homophobe. But he continues, but as far as I and many of the people, the voters of House District A7 are concerned, it simply makes me a Christian. Christians believe in biblical morality, kind of by definition, or they should. Actually, no, there's a lot of Christians that don't believe in the explicit interpretation of their Bible. Meaning they don't believe in stoning gay people to death and all the other outdated, ridiculous, and not to mention illegal and contradictory laws in the Bible. Again, that includes banning shellfish. You know, you can't eat shellfish if you believe in the Bible, or if you literally take the Bible, or can't wear mixed fibers when you literally take everything the Bible says. Now, that said, he comes out later and says, I'm not in favor of expanding the death penalty in Oklahoma for homosexuality. Oh, well, thanks God, literally. How merciful of you to not want to try to get this. Again, it would never pass. Then again, Oklahoma, maybe. No, don't worry. I'm not actually going to try to put it on the law books, even though I definitely think that it should be in case in my personal life. And then said this. The fact is that it's much more offensive knowing what obscene things homosexuals do with each other than it is for somebody to hold the view that it is indecent. What are you talking about? What? You know, look, he's talking about it being an addiction, and then talking about, you know, how obscene it is, how offensive it is to know about these, to think about the obscene things they do in their bedrooms. Oh, with each other. Why are you thinking about that? Why is that on your brain all the time? Why do you call it an addiction and then can't stop thinking about it? What is wrong with you? Normal people, regular adults that, you know, only somebody who is so far stuffed into their closet will and is self-hating will sit there and think about these things constantly and get bothered by what other consulting adults do in their own bedrooms. I think that's the issue here. Oh, definitely. How many times have we seen that happen? where these people, they can't stop thinking about it because they desperately want to do it. And you know what? It's 2022. I think you should do what you want. If you're gay, just be gay. Totally fine. If you're trans, be trans. Totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be who you are. Be yourself. But no, these people, again, and it gets religion, taking some of the most hateful parts of religion. You get the peer pressure and things like that to be something maybe that you're not in these, Southern evangelical communities, forcing these people in the closet. And since they're not happy, since they're not able to act on their, and be themselves, right? Well, they want to make sure that nobody else can. I don't know. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, finally, the Oklahoman did ask about those comments to see recently if they had changed at all. His response, he refused to do an interview, told them to watch a video that he posted up, which was then immediately removed for violating YouTube policy. Oops. But apparently in it, he didn't answer the question and decided to blame the media for doing hit pieces against him. Look, I got news for you. It's not a hit piece if somebody is just reporting on the things that you've actually said and noted that you have refused to denounce them. They think about gay sex more than gay people do. That's my point. And again, they can't help but unintentionally out themselves, in a strange way, with all the red flags that they're throwing up. It really is amazing. No, just be your health. Just be yourself and stop, trying to control other people's lives. Just be comfortable with yourself. It's okay. Okay. Anyway. That's all I got today. Let's see. What do we have going on here for Twitch? By the way, make sure to like and share the stream. Emega says, Scott Esk assaulted a pastor. Oh, that's right. He called the pastor, I believe, snakes, or the church leadership a bunch of snakes. So this guy's got some serious issues. Serious issues. But thank you for posting that, by the way. I do remember reading something about that. All right. Let's see if we have any super chats here. No, but I did forget to read one from yesterday. Madi Darno says, if you know someone who's troubled, reach out to them. True. Very, very good advice. Very good advice, by the way. And thank you for all the new follows. Really appreciate it. All right. So, everybody, thank you all. Really, really appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you later.
Mike Pounds. Clean coal, meaning to take it out cold, they're going to clean it. They say, how do that? Beta!
Disappointed!
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.